Hello, and welcome back to English Express. I'm here to help you improve your English communication skills one episode at a time. Today, we're diving into a key skill that can make your conversations more interesting and expressive: descriptive language. Using descriptive language helps listeners picture what you're saying, which adds color, emotion, and excitement to your stories. Whether you're describing an event, a place, or your feelings, adding descriptive language makes your English sound more fluent and vivid. By the end of this episode, you'll have some practical ways to make your English come alive with powerful, sensory words. Let's jump in. So, let's start with what descriptive language actually means. Descriptive language includes words and phrases that create a picture in the listener's mind. Instead of saying something is good or bad, you can use more specific language to describe how something looks, sounds, feels, tastes, or smells. For example, instead of saying, "It's a nice day," you could say, "The sun is shining brightly, and there's a soft breeze." See how the second version paints a picture? Descriptive language like this helps engage the listener and makes your conversation much more interesting. And why does this matter? Well, using descriptive language helps you communicate more clearly and colorfully. Build stronger connections with listeners. Express yourself in a way that feels personal and memorable. When you use descriptive language, you invite others into your world. So let's talk about some techniques to help you start doing that. One of the best ways to make your language more descriptive is by tapping into the 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. These senses help listeners imagine what you're talking about more vividly. Let's go through each one with examples. Sight: describe what you see. Instead of "the garden was beautiful," you might say, "The garden was filled with bright red and yellow flowers, with leaves glistening in the sunlight." Sound: add sound details. Instead of saying, "The city was busy," you could say, "The city was alive with the sound of honking cars and people chatting on the sidewalks." Touch: describe how something feels. Rather than saying, "The pillow was soft," say, "The pillow was so soft it felt like sinking into a cloud." Taste: bring flavors to life. Instead of saying, "The food was delicious," try, "The soup was rich and creamy, with just the right amount of spices." Smell: describe scents to make your language vivid. Rather than saying, "It smelled nice," say, "The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming roses." Let's practice. Imagine you're describing your favorite meal. Think about the colors, the textures, the flavors, and even the smell. Instead of saying, "I had pasta," you could say, "I had a bowl of creamy, golden pasta topped with fresh basil and Parmesan cheese." These sensory details bring the meal to life. Next, let's talk about adding emotion to your descriptions. Descriptive language isn't just about what you see or hear, it's also about how you feel. Describing emotions helps your listener connect with your experience on a personal level. Instead of saying, "I was happy," try, "I was overjoyed, it felt like my heart was going to burst with excitement." Or if you felt nervous, instead of saying, "I was nervous," you could say, "I had butterflies in my stomach, and my palms were sweaty." Here are some more examples. Instead of "I was sad," you could say, "I felt a deep ache in my chest." Instead of "I was excited," you could say, "My heart was racing with anticipation." Instead of "I was surprised," you could say, "I was so shocked, my jaw practically dropped." Adding these emotional descriptions brings out your personality and makes the experience more relatable for your listener. Another powerful tool in descriptive language is using metaphors and similes to create vivid comparisons. A metaphor is when you describe something by saying it is something else, like, "Time is a thief." A simile is when you say something is like or as something else, like, "She was as busy as a bee." These comparisons help your listener understand your description in a new and memorable way. Here are some examples. Instead of saying, "He's very strong," you could say, "He's as strong as an ox." Instead of saying, "The room was quiet," you could say, "The room was as silent as a grave." Instead of saying, "She's kind," you could say, "Her heart is like gold." Using metaphors and similes is a great way to add creativity to your speech. Just remember to keep it simple and relevant, don't overdo it. Try adding a metaphor or simile the next time you want to make a description more interesting. Let's put all of these techniques into practice. I'll give a scenario, and you can try describing it using sensory details, emotions, and maybe even a metaphor or simile. Scenario 1. Describe your favorite place to relax. Think about the sounds, sights, and how it makes you feel. For example, you might say, "My favorite spot is a quiet beach where the soft sand feels warm under my feet, and the waves gently lap against the shore like a lullaby." Scenario 2. Describe a recent exciting event you attended. Use emotions and sensory words. For example, you could say, "At the concert, the music was so loud I could feel it vibrating in my chest, and the crowd was buzzing with energy, like a hive of excited bees." Scenario 3. Describe a favorite memory from your childhood. Think about how it looked, felt, or smelled. For example, "I remember playing in my grandmother's garden, where the air was filled with the earthy smell of freshly watered plants, and the sunlight made everything glow like gold." Try to bring each memory to life by focusing on the senses and your feelings. Practicing these descriptive details will make your language sound natural and help you communicate with more depth. And that's it for today's episode of English Express. I hope you feel inspired to start adding more descriptive language to your English conversations. Remember, descriptive language isn't just for advanced learners, it's something everyone can practice, and it really helps make your English more vivid and engaging. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves learning English. And let me know in the comments, what's one word you'd use to describe your favorite place? I'd love to hear it. Thank you for tuning in to English Express. Keep practicing those descriptive words, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep expressing yourself and making your English colorful. Bye for now.